Good morning, my name's Andrew from Melbourne, Australia. How you going?
How you going?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Isn't it going good?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, all right. Well, you said, how you going? And then you said, you're doing good. And I met you on the going, but then you like abandoned me and said, doing.
I'm good.
All right, cool. Good morning.
Yeah, basically what my question is, obviously without going over what was covered yesterday, but when we're going through, finding your purpose in life, definitely...
Going or doing through?
Going through.
Okay.
I can identify with what you're saying, education, and people are saying, saving the trees. Mm-hmm. I was finding it a lot harder just to find, come with my purpose in life. Just sort of wondering if you had any tips on how to go about doing that, because, for instance, saving the environment and so on, I consider worthwhile causes and, want to make a contribution. But at the same time, I wouldn't know much more than the average person out in the street about those sorts of things. So,
I don't think I understand the question.
I'm just having a bit of trouble, finding my purpose and how I can contribute to the world.
Okay, gotcha. So in other words, you think that it might be something in the world of the environment, but you're not totally sure and you don't know how to contribute?
That was more just an example, I guess, so to speak. But
okay.
It might be environment. It's something I'm passionate about or I care about. Mm-hmm. But sort of just try and convert. Find something specific to nail it down exactly.
So this sounds like a challenge, and this is just my view of how these kinds of things work. But of matching what it is that you're good at naturally, that you enjoy doing, that you just have endless energy to do, with a need that exists kind of out in the world, and then developing yourself to become a master of that environment, so to speak. Mm-hmm. My experience with this is that there are a couple of ways that you can approach it. One of them is to say, I'm going to figure it out myself completely. So that method is do a bunch of research, try a bunch of things, look at what sounds like it might be interesting and say, hey, that sounds interesting. Let me go try that out, see how it works. And then when you find kind of a niche, go to work in it, and then within that, you'll find your specialty. It's almost like someone saying, I just want to work in the medical field, going to a great university and studying medicine, and then 5 years into the mix saying, I want to go into anesthesia, or whatever, finding their specialty within that. So that's one way, is kind of doing it yourself. And the other way is to try to get experts involved, or masters, or people that have done this before, who understand matching someone who's naturally good at something to, potentially what they could go to work on, and getting their advice. And I found that both really work well together. Mm-hmm. It seems to me that most people are oriented one way or the other. So, for me, I tend to be kind of more the rugged individualist type, like screw everybody else, I'll figure it out for myself. I don't need anyone to tell me what to do. So that limits me in my life, because there are people out there who have figured out just about everything, and I don't need to go reinvent the wheel. And often in my life, I'll work on something, trying to figure something out for years, and then I'll find some expert, and in 5 minutes they'll just say, oh yeah, here's how it works, and I'll be like, right, of course, duh. Now there's some benefit to figuring things out for yourself, but there are a lot of smart people out there that can help you very quickly. But then on the other end of the spectrum, other end of the continuum, a lot of folks, I actually think most folks, are more oriented toward the outside world. So they care more about what other people think, and then not as much about what they think. So they look to others to decide what's right for them. This is what's called an external frame of reference person. And they don't use the inner compass as much. It's like if they're doing something and someone outside of them says, that's bad, they go, oh, I didn't know. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll go over here and do this. I'm making these extreme, right? I'm kind of stylizing them to show you the comparison and the contrast. But I think it comes down to figuring out, is this something you really want? Do you really want to know this thing? And when we say knowing your purpose, or knowing what your vision is, or your mission, there's a little bit of a feeling of, well, okay, once I get that figured out, then everything's going to be okay, because then I just go do it. But that's not the way reality works. These are just little mental placeholders for concepts that are abstract in themselves. Once you figure out what your vision is, then you go to work on figuring out, is it, how achievable is it? Is there a better vision? And your vision starts to morph and tune and change over time. So if you say, I want to go learn yoga, as an example, which is a fascinating, world to me, because in the old days, I thought it was just a bunch of people putting themselves into like weird body postures and just looking strange almost for the sake of it. And now I realize, wow, those guys have been doing that for thousands of years. They've figured out all of these distinctions and all this stuff, and that it's nothing like it appears to the uneducated person in a way. It means a totally different set of things. And when I get in there, all these distinctions show up, so my vision of what success in that world looks like, and it starts to refine itself over time. And then you even realize that the concept of success isn't even really in there, and so you have to retool your thinking. Same thing with your mission or with your vision. In my experience, you say, I want to go to work on the environment and help it out, and then you get into it and you start working on it for a few years, and you find your niche and your specialty, and you're really chugging along, and then you realize, oh wow, there's something that actually has nothing to do with the environment in the way that I thought of it before, but it affects the environment more than anything. And maybe it's some area of business or politics that indirectly, directly affects things, and you realize that's where your skill really is, but that your experience over here, climbing trees that people were about to chop down and holding big signs up, or whatever the experience is of being kind of like a radical environmentalist, really helps you over here, because you can now talk from this better place, and then you get there and you realize it's something else. And of course, we live in the most rapidly advancing, evolving world that probably has existed, with all of these breakthroughs and new learnings happening. So you're going to wake up in a year and things are going to be different. You're going to wake up in 10 years and they're going to be different again. And it's going to be a different problem. So basically, I have no idea how to do what you're asking right now.
No, you're right. You give me what a point is there. So
yeah. So what I would recommend that you do is, find the area, the niche where it sounds like you'd probably be fulfilled going after that. That sounds good to you. And then see if you can find some experts who really have created a lot of success, whatever that means, seem to be able to actualize their visions, are excellent leaders, good mentors, and get their feedback and have them look at what you're doing on a regular basis, and just kind of surrender to the process when you're around them, and then mix it all up in your brain and make the best decision about what to do. But the more you follow this path, the more you'll figure out whether or not it works for you, right? Every man should have a mission only so far as it works for him to have one, or to have a vision that he's trying to create in the world. And if it doesn't work for you, and this concept doesn't work for you, fine. I'm not saying that you have to. It's just my experience that it tends to help lead a more fulfilled life, etc. So if you like the idea, get on it, go after it, try it, see if you can make it work. You'll learn as you go, and try to get experts involved looking at you along the way and giving you feedback and letting you know kind of from their perspective where you're at. And I think you'll find your way.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, D, how's it going, buddy?
What up, dog?
Dean from Kelowna, Canada.
Hey, D.